Most men waste years trying to figure out if a woman is genuine, but the truth is, you don't need years. You don't even need months. If you pay attention, two small things will tell you everything about her character. When you want to know the truth about a woman's character, the most powerful lens to look through is not how she treats you when she's interested, not how she behaves when she wants your attention, and not even how she acts when she's trying to impress you. All of these can be polished performances. A smile can be rehearsed, a tone of voice can be softened, and a whole personality can be shaped just to gain favor. But the truest test comes when she is dealing with people who have nothing to offer her in return. This is the point where masks fall off and authenticity, or lack of it, comes to the surface. Think for a moment about how she speaks to a waiter at a restaurant. Does she show kindness when ordering, or does she speak with impatience as if the person serving her is beneath her? Notice how she interacts with domestic staff, drivers, or anyone society labels as less important. A woman who maintains dignity and respect in such interactions reveals a heart that is naturally compassionate. On the other hand, if she suddenly becomes dismissive, arrogant, or controlling with people who hold no power over her, that is the side of her character that you must pay attention to. Because eventually, when the novelty of the relationship fades and she feels she no longer needs to impress you, that same dismissive energy will turn in your direction. It's easy for someone to treat a man kindly when they are emotionally invested in him. A woman in love will naturally show affection, patience, and warmth toward the one she desires. But what about the strangers she crosses paths with in daily life? What about the people she has no emotional investment in? The truth is, we all reveal our true selves in the moments we believe no one is evaluating us. If she can't extend respect to the janitor cleaning the floor, the vendor selling fruit on the street, or the elderly woman who asks for help, then her respect is conditional, not a core part of her being. The reason this observation is so crucial is because respect is not meant to be selective. If someone only knows how to respect upward toward people they admire, desire, or fear, that respect is shallow. Real respect flows downward and outward to everyone, regardless of position. A woman who greets a security guard with a smile, who thanks a shopkeeper sincerely, who listens without rolling her eyes when a stranger speaks slowly, she is not putting on a show. She is demonstrating values that cannot be faked consistently over time. Watch how she reacts when dealing with someone who makes a mistake. For example, a server brings the wrong dish or forgets an order. Does she respond with patience, correcting politely? Or does she instantly lose her temper, belittle the person, or make the situation heavier than it needs to be? The way she responds to small inconveniences caused by people she considers irrelevant is a direct reflection of how she will treat you in moments when she's frustrated, disappointed, or not getting what she wants. Another layer to this is gratitude versus entitlement. If she views kindness as her right and never acknowledges the efforts of those around her, she is operating from a place of superiority. Notice whether she says thank you for small gestures. Does she recognize effort even when it's someone's job? Or does she overlook it completely as though the world owes her that service? Gratitude is the foundation of humility, and humility is the foundation of strong character. Entitlement, on the other hand, is the seed of selfishness and arrogance. And once it grows, it suffocates relationships of all kinds. Every woman can be graceful, loving, and respectful when she wants to attract a man. But the difference between a performance and a personality lies in how she treats the ones who have no value to her. If her kindness is only a currency she spends to get what she wants, it will eventually run dry once she feels she has secured what she was after. But if her kindness is part of her natural state, if it flows effortlessly toward everyone she encounters, then you are looking at a woman whose respect and loyalty run deeper than appearances. A woman's real strength is never revealed in comfort. When life is smooth, when money is flowing, when love feels effortless, almost anyone can act sweet, patient, and supportive. It is easy to smile when nothing is testing your emotions. But life does not remain in perfect balance forever, and this is where true character gets separated from the mask. The real measure of a woman lies in how she reacts when the situation turns difficult, when things do not go according to plan, and when challenges demand more than just words. Notice her behavior in moments of stress. When something unexpected happens, does she collapse into panic and self pity, or does she gather herself and try to face the problem with calmness? For example, if there is a financial setback, does she turn against you, complain endlessly, and place blame on others? Or does she stand by you, encouraging patience and solutions? Her reaction during difficulties is not just about that moment, it's a reflection of her internal values. A woman who can stay grounded during storms carries a strength that no charm or beauty can replace. Another way to test her character is to see how she handles disappointment. Life doesn't always give us what we want, and every relationship will face times when plans fail, dreams are delayed, or circumstances force you to wait longer than expected. When she doesn't get her way, does she resort to manipulation, silent treatment, or withdrawal of affection? Or does she accept the reality with maturity and adapt her mindset without punishing those around her? This ability to regulate emotions, especially when things are not perfect, is what separates an emotionally strong woman from one who is fragile under pressure. Conflicts are also a natural part of life. No matter how strong the bond is, disagreements will happen. How she chooses to handle conflict speaks volumes. Does she escalate small arguments into wars, using harsh words and emotional attacks? Or does she approach the conflict with respect, focusing on solving instead of destroying? Many people can be kind when they are happy, but it takes wisdom and self control to be kind when angry. If she knows how to argue without demeaning, how to express disappointment without breaking respect, she is showing that her love is not conditional on circumstances. It is rooted in loyalty and discipline. Another indicator is her patience during long struggles. For instance, if you are working toward building a career, does she complain about the sacrifices and demand instant gratification? Or does she encourage you to keep pushing, reminding you of the bigger picture? In moments when life requires endurance, a woman's true loyalty and belief in you come to light. Many will stay by your side when success is visible, but few will walk with you when the outcome is uncertain. This patience and resilience are qualities that no external charm can match. The way she reacts under pressure also reveals whether she is driven by fear or by faith. In difficulties, some women give in to panic, creating more chaos than the situation itself requires. Others remain composed, not because life is easy, but because they believe in their ability to endure and in the eventual outcome of persistence. A woman who can remain hopeful and solution oriented during hard times is one who brings stability instead of instability. She becomes a source of peace rather than an amplifier of problems. You must also pay attention to whether her loyalty stands firm when things fall apart. Anyone can stay when times are easy, but when money, status, or comfort are stripped away, the truth is exposed. Does she stand beside you, offering support even when it costs her comfort? Or does she distance herself emotionally or physically the moment life becomes inconvenient? This choice reveals whether her connection to you was based on circumstances or on genuine commitment. Charm is one of the easiest things to display and also one of the easiest things to fake. A woman can wear the right smile, speak in the right tone, and act in ways that create attraction instantly. Charm is about presentation, about showing a version of herself that she wants you to see. But character is different. Character is not performed for an audience. It is revealed over time, especially when she is not consciously trying to impress anyone. The danger many men fall into is confusing charm with character, believing that the woman who makes them feel good in the moment will automatically be someone they can trust long term. Charm thrives in the beginning, when everything is new, when attraction is at its highest, when two people are trying to win each other's attention, charm becomes a powerful tool. She may laugh at all your jokes, speak gently, and show endless enthusiasm for your presence. But you must ask yourself, is this who she truly is? Or is this a polished mask created for the excitement of new attention? Because charm requires effort, it requires energy, and no one can maintain an act forever. At some point, the act fades, and that is when character walks in to take its place. Character is revealed in consistency. A charming woman can impress you in a single evening, but character is what you see after months of observing her patterns. For example, how does she respond when she is tired, stressed, or not in the mood to impress? Does she remain respectful, or does her tone shift into sharpness and disregard? Does she maintain honesty even when it doesn't serve her? Or does she manipulate small truths for personal gain? These are the subtle signs that separate charm from character. Another key difference is that charm seeks to gain, while character seeks to give. A woman who uses charm will often do so with the expectation of a return, attention, validation, gifts, or some form of advantage. But a woman of character does not need a stage to display her values. Her kindness flows naturally without being calculated. She doesn't give respect only when she wants something in return. She gives respect because it is a principle she lives by. Charm is situational. Character is permanent. Think of how charm operates in social settings. A woman can be magnetic in a crowd, lighting up every conversation, drawing admiration effortlessly. But what happens when the lights are off, when the attention is gone, when she is in private? If her warmth disappears when no one is watching, if her kindness fades when it's no longer noticed, then you are only witnessing charm. But if she treats the unnoticed moments with the same respect and grace as the visible ones, then you are witnessing character. Charm is also often selective. A woman may be charming toward people she admires, people she desires, or people she fears. She chooses where to display this energy. But character does not discriminate. A woman of character treats the powerful and the powerless with the same basic respect. She does not switch roles depending on who is in front of her. Her values remain constant regardless of the situation. And this stability is what builds trust over the long term. Finally, charm tends to fade with time while character grows stronger. The more you get to know a woman, the harder it becomes for her to maintain an act if it's not rooted in who she truly is. This is why many relationships start with excitement and passion, but eventually collapse when the reality of her character becomes clear. Beauty and charm may capture your attention, but only character can hold your respect. If you pay close attention, you will realize that charm is what draws you in, but character is what either keeps you or pushes you away. One of the most powerful indicators of a woman's character is the difference between entitlement and gratitude. These two attitudes shape how she views the world, how she treats people, and how she handles relationships. Entitlement says, I deserve this no matter what. Gratitude says, I appreciate this and I don't take it for granted. The contrast between the two may seem small at first, but in reality, it is the line that separates selfishness from humility, arrogance from respect, and temporary affection from genuine love. A woman who carries entitlement believes the world owes her. If you do something kind for her instead of acknowledging your effort, she interprets it as the bare minimum. Instead of appreciation, she responds with expectation. Her mindset convinces her that receiving is her right, and therefore she never feels the need to express thankfulness. This attitude is dangerous because entitlement can never be satisfied. The more you give, the more she demands, and over time, nothing you do will ever feel enough. In contrast, a woman who lives with gratitude approaches the same gestures differently. Even the smallest acts of kindness are noticed and valued. If you bring her something simple like a cup of tea, she appreciates it because she understands that you didn't have to do it. If you listen to her when she's speaking, she acknowledges it because she knows not everyone gives time and attention. Gratitude creates awareness, and awareness fuels appreciation. This cycle strengthens bonds instead of weakening them. Entitlement is also exposed in how she reacts when she doesn't get what she wants. If she feels entitled, the moment something is withheld, she responds with anger, manipulation, or punishment. She may withdraw affection, create unnecessary drama, or make you feel guilty for not meeting her demands. The underlying message is clear. Her affection is conditional, tied to her expectations being met. Gratitude, however, creates patience. A grateful woman doesn't collapse when she doesn't immediately receive what she desires. She understands the effort being made, even if the result isn't perfect. Her loyalty doesn't shift with circumstances because she values the intention as much as the outcome. Another difference is that entitlement looks outward, while gratitude looks inward. The entitled woman constantly measures what others are doing for her, keeping a silent score of who meets her standards. She rarely questions her own contribution because her focus is on taking, not giving. Gratitude, on the other hand, begins with self-awareness. A grateful woman not only notices what she receives, but also reflects on what she gives. She seeks balance rather than imbalance. She doesn't want to drain others, she wants to add value in return. You can also observe entitlement versus gratitude in the way she speaks. Entitlement often reveals itself in dismissive language, phrases like, "That's nothing," "You should have done more," or "That's what you're supposed to do." Gratitude reveals itself in acknowledgement, simple but sincere words like, "Thank you," "I appreciate it," or "That means a lot to me." While words may seem small, they reveal the mindset behind them. Entitled words close the door to deeper connection, while grateful words open it wider. Perhaps the most telling sign is how she treats consistency. If you consistently put in effort, does she become blind to it over time, taking it as a given? Or does she still notice and value it even years later? Entitlement dulls recognition, making repeated effort invisible. Gratitude, however, never loses sight of the value being given, no matter how frequent it becomes. What she notices and what she acknowledges is a mirror of how she sees the world and the people in it. Respect is one of the clearest windows into a woman's character. Love can be exaggerated, charm can be performed, and words can be manipulated, but respect is far harder to fake consistently. The most important detail to notice is whether her respect is conditional or unconditional. Conditional respect means she gives it when she feels she will gain something in return or when circumstances favor her. Unconditional respect means she offers it regardless of who is in front of her, regardless of status, and regardless of whether it benefits her or not. This distinction defines whether her values are rooted in principle or in convenience. A woman who practices respect without conditions doesn't select who deserves it based on status. She does not reserve politeness only for those in authority, admiration only for those who can elevate her, or kindness only for those she desires. Instead, she offers respect to everyone, whether it is a leader or a laborer, a stranger or a loved one. Her tone, her manners, her acknowledgement remain steady because they are not influenced by what she expects in return. This reveals a core stability in her personality, a consistency that cannot be faked for long. In contrast, conditional respect is transactional. It comes out in polished words and sweet gestures when she stands to gain something, but fades when she believes the other person has no value for her advancement. Watch carefully how she switches her tone depending on who she is speaking to. If she shows kindness to someone powerful but becomes dismissive towards someone powerless, you are not looking at genuine respect. You are witnessing calculation. And calculation is dangerous because eventually, when she feels she no longer needs you, she will not hesitate to apply the same dismissiveness in your direction. One of the strongest tests is to see how she behaves when she disagrees with you. Disagreement is natural, and no two people can always see things the same way. But does she maintain respect even when emotions rise? Can she argue without insulting, criticize without demeaning, and express anger without stripping away your dignity? Or does her tone change into mockery, belittlement, or disrespect the moment she is upset? A woman who can preserve respect even in disagreement is showing that her values are deeper than her mood. A woman who loses respect the moment she is challenged is revealing that her respect was conditional all along. Another way respect without conditions is revealed is in how she treats boundaries. If she respects you only when you agree with her, that is not respect, it is control. True respect acknowledges your individuality, your independence, and your ability to think differently without punishment. A woman of character understands that disagreement is not disloyalty. She doesn't try to silence, manipulate, or guilt you into submission. Instead, she listens even if she strongly opposes your perspective. This type of respect is not about comfort, it's about principle. Respect also shows up in the way she speaks about you to others. When you are not around, does she speak of you with honor, or does she casually criticize, mock, or belittle you behind your back? Respect without conditions does not vanish when the person is absent. It holds steady whether she is in your presence or not, because it is a reflection of who she is, not a performance she switches on and off. The same test applies beyond the relationship as well. Observe how she treats those she doesn't personally know. People in public spaces, service staff, strangers crossing her path. If her words remain courteous and her tone remains kind, even when she is not being watched, that is respect flowing from genuine character. If she shifts her behavior the moment she feels unseen, then the respect she shows you may only be an act that lasts until she no longer finds it useful. Temporary attraction is one of the most deceptive forces in relationships. It feels powerful, it feels consuming, and it convinces you that it must mean something deep. A woman can captivate you with her beauty, with her smile, with her charm. And in those first moments, it is easy to believe that you have found something rare. But attraction is not the same as depth. Attraction is the spark, not the foundation. It can blind you to the reality of her true character if you don't step back and ask yourself whether this spark is supported by lasting values. Temporary attraction thrives on surface qualities. It is built on appearances, on style, on confidence, and sometimes even on the way a woman makes you feel seen in the beginning. These things are powerful, but they are also fragile. Looks fade, charm loses its novelty, and even the thrill of attention becomes ordinary over time. What once felt irresistible becomes normal, and if there is nothing beyond that, the connection begins to dissolve. This is why so many relationships that start intensely collapse just as quickly. The attraction was real, but it was temporary, not anchored in deeper qualities. Lasting values, on the other hand, go beyond appearances. They are the principles that guide how a woman lives, the standards that remain steady even when no one is watching. Honesty, loyalty, humility, kindness, these are not traits you notice in a single date or a brief interaction. They take time to observe, and they only reveal themselves in different circumstances. A woman guided by values will show consistency regardless of the setting. Her respect will not fluctuate, her loyalty will not vanish when tested, and her humility will not disappear in the face of power. These are the things that endure long after temporary attraction has faded. Another distinction is that temporary attraction often feeds on excitement, while lasting values thrive in stability. In the early stages, the excitement of something new can make everything feel effortless. But life is not always exciting. It is filled with routines, challenges, and responsibilities. When the thrill fades, does she still remain consistent? Does her character still shine in the everyday moments when there is nothing extraordinary happening? A woman who is only fueled by attraction will lose interest when the spark weakens. A woman who is grounded in values will continue to build regardless of how glamorous or dull the season may be. Temporary attraction also has a selfish dimension. It is about what she wants, how she feels, and what excites her. If those feelings vanish, she moves on without hesitation. But lasting values bring a sense of responsibility and depth. A woman of values understands that relationships are not only about receiving, they are about giving, enduring, and showing up when it's not convenient. She doesn't chase temporary highs because she is anchored by principles that make her steady, dependable, and trustworthy. You can also see the difference in how a woman responds when faced with temptation. A woman guided by temporary attraction is easily swayed by external validation, attention, or opportunities that feed her ego. She may enjoy loyalty when it suits her, but her commitment is vulnerable to being distracted. A woman grounded in values, however, resists temptation because her loyalty is not dependent on circumstances. It is rooted in integrity. She understands that love without values is unstable, and so she protects her relationships with discipline rather than emotion alone. The greatest mistake many men make is confusing intensity with longevity. Just because she makes you feel alive in the moment does not mean she will stand by you when the moment passes. Temporary attraction will make you excited today, but lasting values will determine whether she will walk with you tomorrow and every day after that. At the end of the day, testing a woman's character does not require years of confusion, endless guessing, or falling for illusions. It requires focus on the right signals. How she treats people who can do nothing for her reveals the truth about her heart. How she handles difficult situations shows whether her loyalty is situational or rooted in strength. The difference between charm and character exposes whether her behavior is performance or principle. The balance between entitlement and gratitude uncovers whether she values effort or drains it without recognition. Respect without conditions proves whether her values are authentic or selective. And the divide between temporary attraction and lasting values determines whether she is someone who only excites you in the moment or someone who will walk with you for life. When you pay attention to these truths, illusions break. You no longer get blinded by appearances or distracted by temporary emotions. You begin to see past the surface and into the foundation of who she truly is. A woman's character is never hidden. It is reflected daily in her choices, her patterns, and her principles. The question is whether you have the discipline to notice it before you give her your time, your energy, and your heart.